Hey everybody, and welcome to a special episode of ExcaliburCCGTV. Stay tuned. Hey, welcome back. I'm Randy, this is Blake, this is Nathan. We're going to be doing a special news segment here for ExcaliburCCGTV. We're going to be reviewing comics that just came out for the week, taking a look at what we think is the best top 3. We're looking at comics from July 17th here, 2013, in case this goes on long enough and we have more years involved. But we're going to go through, give you a little bit of the bottom third one, the second one, and we're going to give you a little longer look at the first book where we think this was by far the best of the week. I'll start us off here. Third for me was 100 Bullets, Brother Lono, number 2.
I have to agree completely. I bought this book just because I've been in the habit of buying number 1s because I don't want to miss, whatever hot one item that people might pick up. But this book is just coming out of left field here, I think, for me. Like, I read the original 100 Bullets. It really wasn't for me. I couldn't get into it. But this Brother Lono, you got this big hulking guy that's obviously got this brutal past, and he's trying to find, on a monastery or working with the preachers in Mexico. But I mean, this book is poised to blow. I'm really excited to see where this is going.
Yeah, definitely. What I like about this is Lono is a character that was, as you said, brutal. His character was born and bred to be a beast, and what we're taking a look here, we're getting a totally different look at Lono now, where he is trying to leave all that behind. And what I love about this issue is it gives us that focus on just exactly how much that temptation to still be that terrible person is there. He is checking a girl out. The guy does not like it.
Yeah, when he makes an excuse to go into town after a day's work at this missionary, and he's confronted in the bar where he's looking at someone else's woman, obviously a hard gangster or whatever.
Sure.
And you see him trying to resist the temptation to be that brutal guy, but it doesn't seem like it's going to work out very well. But this is one that's on my radar now that I really didn't know about Brother Lono, and I'm glad I picked this book up. It's a real big book.
Yeah, definitely. I think that he's Brian Azzarello has kind of gotten a new view on how to set a story up and how to go about a story now, and he's got that here with this. He's always been able to tell stories, but he's had like good start, kind of weak middle, strong finish. This right here looks like it's going to be strong all the way through. Nathan, give me a number 3 for you.
My number 3 was Fantastic Four, number 10. It's a classic Fantastic Four issue. It's a lot of family stuff. They go back in time to 1776. They find out there's some scrolls. It's sort of an ongoing thread where the Fantastic Four's powers are causing them to break apart at a molecular level. And they're exploring that while also exploring the family dynamic and going back to 1776 to potentially maybe find a cure. And it's just good classic first family of Marvel. A lot of stuff with the kids, a lot of stuff with the family all together, and just a great summer read.
So I mean, it's just the thing, making apple cider drinks for the family.
Beating up Ben Franklin.
Yeah, that's great.
So Fraction, I guess, is hitting his stride on that, and I like that in FF he is now tying things in together here because he's going back to this Julius Caesar character that was in the Fantastic Four and bringing him into the FF there. But I like seeing that they're expanding the Marvel Universe and saying that aliens didn't just invade in the last 10 years or something. They've been
Fraction's really picking up where Hickman left off.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done a really good job.
Well, since you and I kind of had a number 3 together here, and we kind of shared on that, why don't you give me a number 2 for you?
Well, I have to say that my number 2 probably would be my number 1, but I had a comic that just completely came out of left field. Now, Nathan and Randy read the superhero stuff, where I really like contemporary fantasy and stuff like that, but picked up this book, Daymen, and I've been seeing it's from Boom Studios, and I've been seeing it in the preview section and everything. But this book has this main character that is so confident, and his background is that vampires use daymen or humans to do their bidding when they're asleep at night, and obviously they can't move around in the day. So they rely on these daymen heavily to help run the families that are organized, kind of like criminal families of vampires that run the world. But with this main character is a young dayman, and obviously there's older ones, but they're few and far between because it's a very rigorous training.
You get the sense too from the layout that there are other types of daymen.
Yeah.
Right, of course, and he confronts one other dayman in this, and what's so exciting about this book is that at one point, one of the family's second in command had asked someone else, "Do you know why you can tell this kid is too young in this business?" And they were like, "Why?" "Because he's still smiling."
Yeah,
And by the end of the book, I don't think he's smiling anymore, but he was confronted at the end of this book with another dayman, and the dayman asked, "Who trains you?" And he was like, "Was it this guy or this guy or this guy?" And he's like, "No, it was this guy." He's like, "That guy doesn't train anybody."
Right.
And he was like, he made an exception. So I'm really, this one's on my radar. It's my number 2. It probably would be my number 1. It's a fantastic book, but except for something that came and blew me away. But
I'd have to say I totally agree. That would have made it in my top 3 had certain books not come out this week.
Right.
But I totally agree. Pulls you right in from the get-go with action, doesn't spend or labor. Strain was another vampire comic that came out this week, and Dayman did everything Strain didn't. It wasn't too laborious with the backstory, immediately puts you in, and it's an action-packed thing.
it grabs you from the get-go.
Well, I like that this guy is apparently, he's someone special because the vampire family there was shocked when he said he's the one that took on these other vampires, that he's the one that took them out, not the drunk or weakened or whatever vampire he was there to pick up. Also, it's Brian Stelfree's art. That right there is one of the things that made me pick up the book. I've loved his art from the get-go. He always has this real dynamic style, and the action in this flowed with it very well.
The action and the way it's drawn, and it has a real flow and ebb to it that really makes it a great book. I'm really interested to see where this one goes.
Cool. Well, for me, my number 2 was Batman and Catwoman, number 22. There was one panel in this that made the book for me. Batman is enlisted by Catwoman to go and recover something. We don't know what this something is exactly. Catwoman, of course, has fibbed a little and told Batman otherwise. But she, I think, is in some ways trying to impress him, saying, "Hey, look, I'm part of this good group now. I'm trying to do some good." But for me, the thing that made it is Batman, here he is where he is trying to deal with the loss of his son. And when he finds this little girl that he has to rescue, the little girl asks him, "Are we going to fly?" And let me in fact get to that, because just the way
I think she actually asked if we're going to jump.
The way she put it, she said, "Are we going to jump?" "Yes." "Should I close my eyes?" "Have you ever dreamed you can fly?" Jiley, or however you want to say her name, "Yes." Then he says, "Yes, keep them open," or then keep them open. And that to me was so touching. That to me was one of those things that if Damian Wayne had never been in Bruce Wayne's life, he would not have reacted that way to a child before.
I can't agree more. Let me say this. I thought the book was good.
Mm-hmm.
The reason it didn't make my top 3 is I've grown a little tired of this format where it's basically Batman lamenting Damian's death.
Right.
with
Well, he's
different
going through
Well, not only
stages.
Damien's, but you have other people in the past that he's tutored, and I mean, this one, of course, was his own blood. Okay,
Right.
granted. But at the same time, it is that form of it. The one that makes this great for me is that Carrie Kelly's in it. And really,
that's
I'm a big
good.
fan of the Frank Miller stuff from the 90s, and
Right.
I'm really
And
interested
it's
in
neat the way they use her
Carrie
in
Kelly,
there.
yeah.
What I hope is that this is the beginning of the end of these types of stories about Damon.
I mean, when they gonna
Well,
let this
yes.
guy heal? You know what I mean?
These books are specifically set up to be the 5 stages of grief. So He's got one more to go that's
Oh,
going to
my
focus on
goodness.
Nightwing. And then what they're doing with the book is they're going to switch it over, and it's going to be a Batman and it's going to pick up with a story arc that's Batman and Two-Face. So it'll go on like that. But he's almost done with the grieving. I guess next is acceptance. So it's that. It's done with. Of course, Dick is the best one to be there and have the acceptance with him. But this made it for me. I do like seeing Carrie Kelly in a different aspect. I don't believe that she's going to become Robin. There's no training with this character to ever lead you to believe that that's where it's going to go.
Well, I'm just interested because to see Bruce splicing together Damien's bits of audio to give her a message, because obviously she's asking about him.
That was
and
brilliant.
he's dead. That was a good part of the book for me. Now, Nate, what about your number two?
My number 2 is probably going to be, it is, Mysterious Strangers number 1. Now,
Good
both
choice.
these books, number 1 and number 2, came out. This is basically, it's a setup book. It's a team up, and you have the classic tough guys, a character named Sandoval. I mean, basically, it's like a 1950s A-Team.
It's a throwback.
It's
book.
exactly what it is. And you got the face guy that does a lot of the espionage type work, and then you got the hot girl that does a lot of the more up close and personal stuff.
The hands-on,
Yeah,
literally hands-on.
And it's great. It's just a throwback to literally like a 1950s serial, complete with Martians underneath at the core of the Earth.
Yeah, well, it actually reminds me kind of Mission Impossible with that. The old TV series kind of Mission Impossible.
I mean, everyone has a certain skill set. It's got a real, like you said, 1950s pulp feel to it, and I think the book's really kind of aware of itself in that sense, that it knows this is how we're going to tell the story. But it does have some interesting characters, and definitely pick the book up. It's going to be one to watch for sure.
That Chris Robertson, who is the writer on that, he did 2 story arcs miniseries for Vertigo Comics with Cinderella, and they were 2 kind of espionage series there. So I think he was cutting his chops on that.
And the other beautiful thing is how 1 and 2 piece together to make a nice sort of 2-panel spread. Now, I think when we get to our round of number 1s, this obviously is probably not the cover of the week. But I thought that as well, and that art is pretty much throughout the book.
The cool thing that's going on here, they had a couple of years ago from Image Comics a book called Godland that came out. I think Joe Casey was the writer on that. But whoever the artist was, I'm not familiar with him. He was almost trying his best to recreate Kirby with his art. This right here, I think, gives kind of a nod to Jack Kirby without saying I'm going to be a carbon copy of it. And I like that because it fits kind of the dated feel of the book, and it's not dated and boring. It's dated as in just, it's a period piece, and it's an awesome piece. That's a great choice there. We're to our number 1s here, and they're all really great number 1s. We almost need to flip a coin or do a rock, paper, scissors here to decide who goes first. Since I'm talking and these guys probably have a lot to say as well, I may as well go ahead with mine. This is a comic that probably a lot of people didn't hear about, a lot of people didn't pick up. It was called The Death of Haggard West, and they call it The Invincible Haggard West at the top. And what's great about this, what makes it for me, is it's The Invincible Haggard West number 101, and it tells you final issue and everything about it. They have a thank you for the purchase of this final issue of The Invincible Haggard West, and a special thanks to all the fans for following his exploits all these many years. They make it feel like it's been an ongoing series here. This is the first book. This is the first time. And what this is, it's Paul Pope. That is what made me pick this up. I had to read it. It's going to lead into, in October, a graphic novel that's coming out. They even have the ad on the back called Battling Boy. Hero has fallen, who will save our apocalypse now. Haggard West, of course, is the hero who has fallen there, since it tells us.
So what is it about? I didn't even hear about
this.
This
is
book.
like a pulp science fiction story where there are these weird kind of people animals. I don't know if they're people who come out onto the street after dark and take children. And Haggard West is this hero who flies around. He's kind of a pulp, almost a Rocketeer like character that flies around and is their nemesis. Yeah, will save these kids, and he's got this. I love he has the West Mobile, who it's his daughter who drives the car around. And there's a real touching moment where you start to connect, where he tells his daughter that he loves her or something. You go, oh, this is not going to end well, and it's just great action throughout. You guys can take a little sneak peek at it. And he's like, Dad, be careful always, honey, and. Just the action throughout, he counts there are 6 bad guys, and he flies in and he starts, grabs one and he's flying with him, shoots another, and he's like 5, 4, throws the one guy 3, and is counting down until his demise. And it flashes forward to the funeral where this guy gives her the ring and says, "Here's your dad's signet ring," or something. He's like, oh, he doesn't realize what this ring really is. And it kind of leads me to believe that she may be picking up the mantle when the book comes out, or when the graphic novel comes out.
Battling Boy.
Even though there's Battling Boy, who's someone else, I feel like she's probably going to have a real important part in this book. But Paul Pope, if you've not read his work, he did Batman Year 100, a great series called THB. Image Comics just released a book, a graphic novel called I think One Cuts or something like that from him. But he is phenomenal. It's a very different style, but he crafts an amazing story here. So if you can get them to order this, get your comic shop to order this. Also put on the list, it'll probably be on the solicitations that are coming out this upcoming week, the Battling Boy graphic novel. That is definitely there for me. So there is my number one. It needs to be your number one. It will be your number one if you order this and can get this book. Talk to me, guys.
I like I said before, I've been buying number ones because there's so many great stories coming out that I just don't want to miss those books because, I mean, the price is just skyrocketing.
They
These
do.
great stories like Saga and Thief of
yeah.
Thieves, and I mean,
East
go
to
on.
West.
And I mean, like, yeah, East to West, there's so many. Manhattan, like, it doesn't matter. But, so I bought this book because I'm a big Saga fan, and I love Fiona Staples' artwork.
Yes.
I mean, like, she's a real up-and-comer in the industry, and this comic, Red Sonja, came out with multiple covers, and I only bought this book because Fiona Staples did this art for it.
It's
And
just gorgeous.
inside this book is the best story of the week, hands down. For me,
It's
you
Gelson.
got you have some medieval army fighting an oppressor in the first few pages for freedom. All right, so I mean that always rings true with an audience or whatever. Who cares? But as they figure out, hey, we're victorious, they start looting the castle or whatever of their foes and seeing what they got. And when they get down into the blackest part of the deepest dungeon, they find these 2 women tied up. And basically, these women were put through extraordinary scenarios, I guess, to where they face insurmountable odds in each fight, where these people would make them do battle with, whatever, not unlike something in a gladiatorial arena.
Sure.
But I mean, like, you're just talking about atrocity after atrocity after atrocity, and basically, whoever these people were, the unnamed people in the beginning of this book that were defeated by these other more honorable people in the name of freedom, that when these guys find these 2 people, they're like, they're basically unintelligible. They're not speaking, like the horrors that they witnessed have rendered them more beast than human.
Right.
Sure.
Okay. So they asked their Lord Commander, their king, do we put these 2 down? I mean, and they're like, no, we fought for freedom here today. Why not let these people have it too, as they are in chains? And so they get freed and everything, and it goes on to create. I mean, this is obviously a reimagining of some older character from
Right.
another run in comics, maybe before my time.
Oh, yeah.
But this Red Sonja that they're writing is by Gail Simone, and Walter Giovanni does the artwork for it. It came out of left field for me. I don't even know where this book came from. It is obviously my number one, and picking this over all the great releases that's coming out, now that's something to be said. That's
Yeah, I
something
mean,
to be
I'd even
said.
have to say, like, fantasy is not really my thing, but when I saw that Fiona K. Staples cover, it's just gorgeous, man.
This is more, you know, like if you've ever read Northlanders, you know,
Right.
with the medieval style of, you know, sword and there's, you know, it's not high fantasy, but it's just a really great book, and I'm really interested to see where this one goes.
Now, in flipping through it, I believe I saw that they're actually giving a kind of an origin story as well as to Red
yeah.
Sonja, which I don't believe we've had in comics before. They may have alluded to it, but I don't think we've seen that. So that may be a first there, and that may be something of interest to a lot of people because most time I think it's just a lot of men writing the book that want to write a story of the girl in the little chainmail bikini
Right.
and, you know, slicing off the heads and whatever else. So you're getting to see a lot more to the character.
Yeah, this has a real weight behind it. Like, it has a real nice momentum, and it really surprised the heck out of me. So, Red Sonja number one,
Cool.
really interested to see where it goes.
Well, it looks like we're building, because only you read the one book, then I think both you guys read Red Sonja, and I think all three of us read my favorite this week.
And
And it's been consistently good. It's a half
Great.
past danger.
I'm
If
hoping
you're-
this one continues to.
If you're not on this
keep
book,
showing that
and
because
this is the alternate cover.
yeah, this is Lee Bramejo's cover, and it is beautiful. Of course, Steve Mooney, if you ever watch this, your cover's great too. I loved it. You had a tough choice with going between those two covers.
And if you're not reading this book, basically the premise is you've got another Mission Impossible type team, and the Nazis are trying to weaponize dinosaurs to use in World War II, and this team is trying to prevent that. And it's just a really great, it's almost like Jurassic Park meets Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And in this issue, you get a little bit more backstory. Basically, there are four main characters in the book. A ninja, who you know very little about. I think that's by design.
Yeah.
A sort of a lead spy type figure played by an attractive woman. And then you got this other sort of mysterious guy that you know is invincible, or at least seemingly invincible, because you
Super
see him
strength.
get shot, you see him pick a guy up by the throat, throw him through a building. And then basically they have this Irish guy with them who just happened to be the unfortunate person that discovered this camp where they're doing the dinosaurs. And they do a great job. In the last issue where you left off is they recognize that they have to go and basically attack the Nazis now. They can't let them leave the little island that they're on with any of the weapons, or the Allies are pretty much shot. And so in this one, they're actually beginning to launch their attack on the Germans. And you get a little bit more backstory about the character Noble, who is the sort of Steve Rogers, super soldier,
Always great.
like Randy pointed out, maybe Doc Savage
Yeah,
type character.
The clothing kind of gives the Doc Savage character away.
And so you get a little bit more character with them. And then they go in hot and heavy and attack the Germans, and it is just filled with awesome panels. I mean, the instance where they grab the ninja, or the ninja sneaks up and kills those two dudes with throwing stars, and the guy turns around, he knows somebody's there, and he's like, apprehend this guy, but you can't see anyone.
When they start their attack on this Nazi camp, there's obviously one competent Nazi, you know, in there, like the general or colonel or whatever. And when he has his Nazis to the left and right of him, and he's barking out orders for whoever's attacking the camp to do this, do that, and one of them's like kind of screaming behind you, before the guy can even get the words out of his mouth, he's turning and firing on this dinosaur. And as the
that was
panels
such
go,
a great image with that.
the only reason why this book didn't make my top 3 is because I was so surprised by the other two. This is one that I'm subscribed to, and I really hope they keep writing this book.
I don't think it's picked to go more than about 6 issues.
Yeah.
But it really reads. Every comic leaves you really wishing you had the next issue.
Sure.
In this one, it concludes the Nazis have made it to the train with some of the weapons. They're in a truck, and you assume about to jump on a speeding train and do battle with dinosaurs and Nazis on a speeding train.
On an island. I don't know where the train on an island came from, but that's besides the point. This to me, what's cool is it almost feels like I'm watching Indiana Jones on TV, like I've
Like a drunk Indiana.
well, it feels like each issue though seems like it gets to the commercial break or something.
Sure,
and leads
that's
off,
exactly
and
how I
then
feel.
the next issue you pick up, the commercial break is ended and you're ready to read again. So
And it does it so well too.
it's just a
Yeah.
month-long commercial break. That's why.
Yeah,
It's
that really, but Mooney does a great job of mixing, giving you a little bit of a character backstory, but not having the entire issue be character backstory with no action. Every
Right.
one of these books has a blend of action. Every one of these books also has a oh my god moment in it somewhere where something that you don't expect to happen happens and you don't
Yeah.
see it coming and you go, oh my god, what are they going to do now? And then it's the last page.
Well, and each character, like
Yeah.
you said, that each different member of this team has a different skill set, and I really like the way they don't waste pages on giving you background on the characters during the moments of high action.
Well, they
and
do
it's-
like at the very end of the book, there's a one-page spread for the ninja and a one-page
Right.
spread for the noble, and that's really kind of all you need to hop right into this story.
Right. I
And
mean, any one of the characters could have their own books.
Right.
That's
Well,
how good it is.
When I did my interview with them, that's one of the things I mentioned is that they're archetypes. And so you already kind of know some background of these characters because he's built them to resemble something that you're already familiar with.
Sure.
Guys, we've got our number ones here. Red Sonja number 1, Death of Haggard West, it's just a one-shot, so I'm not calling it number 1, and Half Past Danger number 3. It was a tough week to choose. Like I said, we didn't even pick Thor number 10, God of Thunder number 10, which was an amazing read. We didn't pick Thanos Rising number 3, which was an amazing pick. Strangers number 2, FF. There were so many good books this week.
Origin of Tony Stark.
Origin of Tony Stark, right. So what this is designed to do is bring in different people. Hopefully we're a staple here and we can get a fourth guy in every now and then. If one of us isn't here, we can get a third guy in. We're just bringing in different people to get different points of view, to see what it is they're reading, what it is they love, express to you guys what they want you to enjoy and experience from the books so that you can go and pick them up if you're not picking them up. If you only read Marvel, getting a chance to read something DC or Image. If you only read DC, picking up something Marvel.
Well, Randy, also, before we go, is that the comic book is on a re-escalation. I mean, it's really getting popular again. There's so much good material coming out, but in the same sense, there's so much more just material coming out. So if we can sift through it for you guys,
Right.
then
And again, I think that's absolutely right. And I think Randy's hitting the nail on the head too. If you're just a Marvel person or a DC person, you're really missing out right now. In fact, of the books that we reviewed, I think we hit one from every publishing house.
We did. And
that's
I could have
coming out
thrown
right
more
now.
in there.
And that wasn't out of design. We didn't do that on purpose. It's just each one of the publishing houses right now is putting out content on a regular basis that is as good as anything else any of the other publishing houses are putting out. And it really has spanned the gambit. I mean, we looked at superhero comics, we looked at action comics, we looked at sort of a fantasy medieval comic with Red Sonja.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's running the gambit right now.
Yeah. Guys, I hope we entertained you. If we did, press like, share, subscribe with us. We love when you subscribe with us. That means that you're spreading, other people will get a chance to see what you're watching. You're going to your comic shop, you're talking to them. You're coming to our comic shop, you're talking about it. We love that. Post. We love to respond to you as well here. That's about it from, again, we're Excalibur Comics, Cards and Games in Shreveport, Louisiana, and Texarkana, Texas. You can find us on ExcaliburCCG.com. Thanks a lot.
I'm Blake. This is Randy. That's Nate. We'll see you next week.
See ya.